But some medical unions oppose it.
Oh, hey, so I really like background noise, and I'm watching Friends 24 in the background, and I realize that's harder for people who are hearing impaired to hear me, and I don't have microphones set up. But anyway, I want to talk about court and check up this cool yoga mat. So basically, I want to stretch and talk about court at the same time. So I also have to talk about a bunch of sensitive things, and I want to do so in a respectful way, but that's fine. And just for another heads up, my lymph nodes are super swollen, so I'm in a lot of pain when I talk.
Every day, the economy shapes our lives. Globalization, the financial era.
Okay, that sounds like Sky News over there. I like Marissa Snyder. And I hate to be like objectifying, but she has the most beautiful, elegant, like a portrait of a Madonna in the 16th century. Like she's just this beautiful face. She's clearly very intelligent, but I feel very frustrated with the type of cases she's getting. I assume she's quite young, possibly 34 or something like that. And maybe older. I don't know. I would say she's doing a good job. But the case that I just legal observed for 2 days, not the whole thing, but quite a lot of it, was a case against Kelly Akata. And so after the final closing arguments, we went into the hallway, and she was like, I thought you were a journalist. And I was like, not really. I just do YouTube, and kinda. But I do write a lot, and kind of tried to explain myself. She looked familiar. Some of her friends look familiar. Literally, it's such a small town. Maybe they are familiar from somewhere. So we went to Labor Temple, awaiting the jury. The jury rendered a quick verdict. I mean, really, it was traffic court. But the things that were bugging me about the case, so bugging me. Well, anyway, she gets sentenced tomorrow. Oregon's really pretty much light on crime. You know, even if you are convicted of it, Oregon's light on crime. So come to Oregon, y'all. It's the best place to do the crimes. Not really, because the thing they are also light on is justice. Like, they don't have proportionality, and they don't have perspective. And the thing that seemed to resonate when I was speaking with Kelly outside the courtroom is that they go after nice people like you because you are not a threat to them, you are not a risk to them. And the truly violent, dangerous people who are out there raping and dealing meth and beating people up on a regular, the justice system are cowardly, afraid to touch them, will not bring cases until it's a worst case scenario, like wait till the case builds, like they did with Ben, which put my neck on the line, right? That's what the PD told me, is we were waiting. We didn't know what to do. So they were stuck in paralysis and doing a million other things. I get it that they're all overworked. But in other court drama news, last night when I was going to my Native American Treaties class, which is amazing with William Lang, he's just totally an amazing professor, I got my response from the Oregon State Bar. Lynn Davis is looking really familiar. I've seen this name a million times because I've yacked to the bar. And Scott McCracken had written the bar, like, blah, 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 blah. I've been a lawyer for so long. He's sinking into his position, which is that his Brady mistake was just an accident. So I'm like, yeah, that's good. That looks good in writing. His response wasn't insulting. That was good. And I think maybe he picked up on the fact that I was like, hey, bro, don't be insulting to me. And what I found that with the bar is because his Brady violation was so egregious, they're not looking at what I'm actually complaining about. To me, I'm like, yeah, you can get him on the Brady thing. And Brady, by the way, for people who don't know, is the withholding of exculpatory evidence. And it's kind of a classic loophole / pitfall, whatever, that the justice system constantly falls into this. And it's actually happened so much in the class of DAs. In the Breonna Palmer case, happened in this Moses Keithley case. There were a few other, definitely in the retaliatory case against me. That was just like a joke. But anyway, I saw Alex Thomas tying up his bicycle. I'm glad he's riding his bike. It's really good to do the fitness. I really feel sorry for everyone who works at the courthouse not getting enough yoga or stretching or gym time. Mary Merck, on the other hand, that lady works out like crazy. I have seen her go at the gym. She's amazing. But so back to Kelly Okada case. Basically, she pulled over for an ambulance, tried to merge back into the traffic around Camp Rylea, going in the Warrenton area, and got like smashed and spun out by a semi. And one of the on the scene witnesses was like, it was 100% the truck's fault. And the truck driver claimed not to even see the ambulance, had no idea why she was pulling over or why she would just pull back in to merge. It was, she said the district attorney sped up the footage to conceal how far he dragged her before her spin out happened in her little silver Mercedes. And so her daughter was in the car. The guy who was driving the truck that hit her was turning beet red, as one of the witnesses said, oh yeah, he was being Joe Macho. And then I wasn't clear who flipped off who. I think I came late into that where it was referred to, but I had to leave early yesterday. And she flipped him off, which maybe made her look in the wrong because she's being undiplomatic or something. But I mean, it's kind of like if somebody drags you across the road, spins you out into oncoming traffic. So she literally got convicted by the jury, which had one guy I know, Marty from down in Seaside, like 4 charges, like 4 counts of misdemeanor reckless driving or something approximate to that. And I was like, well, wait, because like the truck driver was turning beet red. He's this beautiful red ginger beard, and he's just turning beet red as he's suddenly realizing, oh, wait a minute, she's going to be exonerated and I'm going to be prosecuted. And I believe the whole case was a drum up of let's blame the victim so the victim doesn't come after our CDL. He's no longer even a truck driver, possibly because of this incident. He's a plumber. And I mean, clearly traffic accidents are traumatic to everyone. But I was kind of torn, like, this will be kind of boring. It's just traffic court. But then I was like, no, I really want to see David Beale argue for the defense. So what was so cool is, like, we got to schmooze in the hallway, and I had told David Beale, her defense attorney, I had looked him up and seen that he'd been a whistleblower down in, I guess it's Newport or somewhere southern from here. And he's like, oh yeah, me and that judge did not get along. And he told me the DA will come in with adding on charges the morning of trial, and the judge would let the DA get away with that. And I was like, I figured it out. I was like, oh yeah, you're a whistleblower. You're up in Clatsop County, our little crooked county, because your little crooked county down south can't handle you. But it was nice to see his style. If I did like a review of David Beale, defense attorney David Beale's style, I would say he's kind of like, let's say, some kind of East Coast accent. We got to figure out where he came from. But he's very affable, very sort of friendly, and fact of the matter, like kind of like you would want to go to a ball game with him. He's just like a really charming kind of, I dare say goofy, but I mean that in a nice way. He's good. And there were moments when the footage rolled that there were like, not even the judge who could do good poker face is like, it was like, oh no. And a lot of the reasoning and rationale in the mindset of how the Clatsop DA pursues a case, they don't seem to understand the difference between like wishful thinking and probable cause, or wishful thinking and blame seeking and mens rea. Like, their guesswork and conjecture. What I think was the most devastating thing about yesterday was losing faith in the jury system, because I'm always bemoaning the 96% plea bargain racket where everyone just signs up for a plea bargain. And so we were talking about charge stacking in the lobby of the courthouse with his attorney and all her friends, that basically and this particular case was so dreadful because she just merely started with a ticket in violation court. If she had gone and paid her $200, $300, $400, she could have taken a payment, it would all be over, you would hope. But the prosecuting trooper who had just had a baby was like, no, I want to go talk to the DA. So he basically goes to the DA, gets them to pull in a higher level of a charge on it. It gets filed by Alyssa Lax, who I found out. Basically, I believe Kelly Okada has a bar complaint on Marissa Snyder, possibly on Alyssa Lax. Possibly Alyssa Lax resigned because of this case. Paul Charis, who is the former prosecutor who prosecuted my friend for getting hit by a car when he was riding a bicycle, and this SUV driver thought she almost killed him, is the first case that went into McIntosh's court after COVID. Paul Charis got elected to Lane County, so he just abandons her case. But she said, oh no, but he believed me. He knew I was innocent. So I was thinking, well, maybe he dispositioned by dragging his feet on it. Maybe that dispositioned it so she could finally get exonerated. And now the thing about the jury trial is I think that the jury kids got a big head about maybe Marissa Snyder's savoir-faire, like her poise, like she's very composed and dignified. And those are good qualities to have. And I think in a way, seeing how she could mobilize them to twist what actually happened into a narrative that is so devoid of situation and the facts and reality. I mean, if you've ever driven a car, it is a hard call. Do you go forward or do you wait back? All this woman is basically convicted of is not making the decision to hold back. The semi's blasting forward has already been tailgating her. That's the other thing. He was tailgating her such that all she could see was his grill. So when the ambulance came, she pulled to safety. So her alleged recklessness is not adapting to his recklessness. And so when I saw her in the lobby, she was like, are you a journalist? Oh yeah, talk about my case. Yeah, definitely write about my case. So as it turns out, she's a musician who's written musical songs about the lack of justice in Clatsop County. And she's really good, and it actually even sounds produced or done nicely. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I think it was very brave of her to put it on. The whole, what Kirk Wintermute told Bobby Bucket was, oh, you're going to take a trial penalty. I'm like, what's a trial penalty? It's literally the potential that you'll have a worse conviction on your record, a worse amount of punishment because you did not submit to the plea bargain racket, which has polluted our justice system. And when we were coming back for the verdict, Kirk Wintermute and McIntosh were in the basement whispering in each other's ears. And I had just explained to Kelly Okada how Carol Epling got her legs broken by the superintendent who was a crony of Judge Wintermute's wife, Heidi Wintermute. And got a 165 ticket a year later, maybe just to make it look like he had a consequence. Either that or he was just doing some other reckless driving somewhere. I don't really know because the violation tickets aren't even digitized. Maybe I should do a records request on that. Well, that's going to be fun. So maybe Kelly Okada can come see how if you're a superintendent of the school and your judge's wife is up for election for school board president, then maybe you can actually drive around breaking legs. And the whole prosecute the victim thing has gone. My friend whose back was broken by her ex is now being prosecuted for calling 911. My other friend was prosecuted for calling 911. This district attorney's office likes to persecute victims. So any woman that doesn't want to report DV, rape, assault, battering, I'm with you. these vultures up at the district attorney's office will come for you. It is not safe to so do. So, another thing I thought I could do is I could read my response to the bar. Now let's read Scott McCracken's response to the bar. That would be fun. Oh, it's kind of in a small file. I probably should be doing it on a laptop. Okay, here we go. With my good, let's see. Okay. And what do I know? What do I know? Dear Client Assistance Office, I received your email concerning case file number, blah, blah, blah. The correspondence references the Oregon Rules of Professional Conduct. The issues addressed have to do with emails sent to various individuals and agencies by Ms. Ang. I believe 2 of the emails have been submitted to your office. I will attach the 3rd. The complaint references a September 2024 hearing. At that hearing, the parties discussed 3 emails sent by Ms. Ang. The email dates were May 19th, June 9th, and September 18th. The week before trial, September 18th, Ms. Ang sent me an email directly. I forwarded that email to the defense the next day, indicating that the state did not intend to call Ms. Ang. During trial preparations, a colleague reminded me that Ms. Ang had also sent an email several months before discussing the case. The email was retrieved and sent to the defense as well. We determined it had not been made part of the case file, despite having been sent to the detective assigned to the case and the Astoria chief of police. There were no follow-up reports regarding the information contained in the email. When we confirmed it had not been made a part of the discovery, we provided it immediately on September 19th. So he did. That's actually good information. Way to go, Scott. So let's blame the PD. The 3rd email was sent directly to a colleague June 9th as a follow-up to the May 19th email. I do not recall being aware of its existence until the other emails came up, and I likewise forwarded it to the defense September 19th. At the hearing to discuss the matter, I took full responsibility for the oversight. The judge and defense agreed there was no bad faith on the part of the state. A continuance was granted as a remedy. That hearing is also attached. I've spent 20 years in public service as a prosecutor, including my certified law student internship, and have never been accused of an intentional or willing discovery violation. Thank you for your time, and please let me know if there's anything else. I love it. I was like, way to go, Scott. You really walked it back because he had been so blame gamey. So, towards me. But the sad thing is he included his verbal tirade against me. So I just say, back to the OSB, thank you for the audio file. Lots of respect to the legally educated. The only contact I can recall with the DA is over assaults from Christopher Guest Duffy, 2017. Ron Brown and Ken Hansen met with me and victims' assistants in early 2019 to discuss the discrepancies in this case. Benjamin Harvey Pickering, 2016, who was prosecuted and for whom I served grand jury, or the DA's retaliatory and dismissed prosecution of me for obtaining legal one-party consent, recording of a felon former meth dealer and sexual harasser who runs the homeless shelter for Judge Kirk Wintermute and is under investigation by Boley for civil rights violations. The only time I recall being told not to contact the DA is when I called the DA in 2020 asking to speak to Bo Peterson about the abuser Chris Duffy's assault and if it would be charged. I asked for Peterson due to his reputation for respectfulness and kindness, as I felt I had been mistreated by law enforcement and DA alike. I was told he was permitted to judge. Ron Brown himself shouted at me never to contact the DA. I wanted to understand why my attacker was not in trouble with the law, even though he admitted portions of the crime. I was confused, saying, even if I'm a crime victim or my family member is a crime victim, he said, call law enforcement. I do not recall any contact with Scott McCracken in my life, and I do not know what contact he refers to. I have seen him in passing on the street and when legal observing minor hearings. Keep in mind, my sole intent was to prevent life-threatening catastrophe towards my friend. I believed it to be urgent that the witness intimidation be assessed. Indeed, new rumors emerged that Bradley Minder is threatening to beat up witnesses in his upcoming trial for arson. I have alerted law enforcement for that case, but how can I be assured DA Sarah Shepard knows when Clatsop DA is so hostile to non-lawyers? My own recent assault, December 22, 23, by my deceased partner was poorly investigated by Sergeant Duryea, and I did not trust police would follow through due to their busy and hectic schedules or habit of ignoring, disbelieving much of the violence women suffer. Fortunately, I had to go to the dentist and missed much of the delayed trial. I saw McCracken pick up the pace and get it together largely, with the accused even admitting to pistol whipping his own mother when he chose to testify. One of the people who threatened my friend continues to get away with drug dealing, assault, and rape in this county, thanks to the bar for being there for us when we don't know where to go. I heard there is a lot of quid pro quo up at the DA's office. I immediately assumed that Scott might have something to do with it due to the bullying tone he took with me for my non-lawyer protocol violation. I have 23 years of experience as a rape victim that can't get the cops to care about my safety dating back to another jurisdiction. The Brady issue is concerning for the alleged rapist's civil rights. For me, my sense of being abused by Scott was about the tone and seeking to exclude me. I thought I would be thanked for research critical to the rape DNA or for exhausting service to the homeless who frequently asked me for help. I feel that he did not infer my goodwill and my hope to truly help the homeless women suffering repeat victimization with little recourse. This experience, I hope, is a growing experience for all of us. The tone modulation with pressured speech was a lot of weight to put on me, as this case was very painful to the community where women are routinely assaulted due to the poverty and criminal co-ed shelter complex where violent and sexual offenders are warehoused under the control of felons who bully the low-income vulnerable people. I'm particularly triggered by men who raise their voice at me. I hope McCracken moves through this, considers a more respectful tone, and I'm thankful for his service. I suggest this bar complaint be a backdrop for other complaints, which may have other relevant information if they are forthcoming. Please also consider this a release of Normal Rape Shield. This is an addendum. Normal Rape Shield or VAWA, Violence Against Women Act, privacy norms in regards to victimization I've experienced, re-contact with the DA or victim's assistance. Also released any info about victims assistance counseling I've had from Oregon DOJ funding relevant to even unprosecuted classic crimes. I understand bar complaints are public records, and here I relinquish my privacy about crime victimization in furtherance of more humane treatment of trauma survivors by justice workers. When Scott McCracken chewed me out about contacts, it is my assertion that contacts would not be needful had I not been a crime victim. In regards to my friend, the victim, I consider her family, and in good faith reached out, number one, so she would not be hurt, and number two, so the case would not be botched, especially due to the inherent conflict of potential evidence tampering aided by shelter workers, and then I should have added, and drug addicts you refuse, or drug dealers and rapists you refuse to prosecute, the other abusers. But it was hard to get that all going. So, I love that nobody's on my stream. Thank you, everybody, for sleeping in. It's a beautiful day to sleep in. Okay. I think I'm having coffee. So I think overall this will be good for Scotty. Scotty! I don't know him by a first name basis, that's for sure. I don't know him in any way, actually. And what I'm alluding to, I'm sure he knows what it is. Something he has done is a part of the $100,000 lawsuit settlement. The county was quick to pull out their checkbook and try to get these whistleblower ladies to bug off. And who knows, maybe they got their splash, they got into the paper, they got a little bit of money, split it with their attorneys. Maybe a good time will be had by all, but maybe the bar will find out what was going on. What we do know, according to the press, to Katie Frankovitz's article, is that several employees resigned, several went on family leave, several relocated, and I've been attending hearings trying to feel, it's like that Agatha Christie novel, and then there were none. I'm like going to hearings trying to figure out who has not been resigned. And so far as I can tell is Sarah Shepard is still on deck, Marissa Snyder is still on deck, and Alex Thomas is still on deck. So other than that, I haven't seen Scott anywhere near the office in at least 4 weeks. He might be on leave or he might be resigned. Dawn Buzzard, I just intrinsically like as a nice lady, even though I might not agree with all her decisions. The number one fatal flaw the Clatsop District Attorney's Office has had is rubber stamping Ron Brown. So in that sense, I don't trust any of them. And how far they have to go to deeply embed to rubber stamp Ron Brown's bad decisions. I think what it's been doing lately is causing a lot of inner turmoil for the younger attorneys who have to prosecute cases that are outlandish and potentially embarrassing, and then reap the harvest of the bar complaints and whatever else comes when you have cases so divorced from reality or justice that it's laughable. So I need a clatter of background noise. Let's watch some more Friends 24.
To assert influence in a South American country.
Hegseth.
In Geneva, the European Song Contest, Eurovision Song Contest, has agreed to let Israel stay in. The announcement comes after heated debate. Some countries like Germany firmly backed keeping Israel in the competition despite criticism over the war in Gaza. Immediate reaction coming from the likes of Spain and the Netherlands, who both say their national broadcasters will boycott the 2020.
So Kelly Okada was telling me about a guy who had been
Australia,
convicted of rape but had some kind of like cancer diagnosis. So Ron Brown just let him out of jail. So everybody would just be running into him on the streets. She was against the women's safety implications. I think the larger issue about her prosecution was that she was being prosecuted to save face for the guy who hit her with his semi-truck. And that should have been very clear when he was non-responsive to the ambulance, and she was. So she was hit in consequence to the chain reaction set off by an ambulance. I mean, ambulances are basically allowed to recklessly drive as medical emergencies.
I think it's fantastic, but I wish the government could laugh. Children are clever.
If she had any fatal flaw, it was thinking speeding up would help her get ahead of the reckless semi. So she gets a reckless charge because she's trying to evade the guy who's tailgating her. And her only crime was not pulling back to yield. Really, if that is even a crime, I think it was a miscalculation at best. It certainly wasn't a crime. And the thing David Beale, her defense attorney, said that was so helpful was, why?
One law, we can
There was no criminal intent. He was saying this was an accident, not an intentional crime.
This law is the set and forget.
Like, why can't it be an accident?
Violations of the ban will carry a fine of almost 50 million Australian dollars, or over 28
I gotta
million
take
euros.
some pain for this, but I
Australia
don't
is
know
not
which one
alone.
to take.
Malaysia said it
Oh,
would
I'm so
take a
sick.
similar law in 2026, and several countries in the European Union are also looking to set a minimum age for social media use.
We have more news coming up for you later. You're watching France 24.
Every day, the economy shapes our lives. Globalization, the financial
I want to see how long it takes to go into effect. So it's 5 till 10 in the morning.
Going beyond the numbers,
Oh yeah, I could have gone to a food bank today.
analyzes the impact of the economy on our lives.
Except I don't really need any food. I have too much.
People of Profit on France 24 and France24.com.
This week, Valerie Vial meets comedian and director Kevin. With Dragon, his new stage show, he's taking improv to a new level.
Je sais comment ça commence, je sais comment ça finit. Aujourd'hui, je me laisse une liberté totale. C'est pas tout le monde être fou, mais je vais chercher le côté.
I think the thing about the Scott complaint is he knew I should have made a bar complaint long ago, and it was weighing over his head like a guilty conscience. So now it's better to finally have it on record. And what I found is that when I got the guts sitting in the church to just finally write it, I felt so much more free, and I realized how much it had been weighing on me. After the incident, I made a 20-minute
Where Alban Bianco shows us her creations in this intimate space. Watch Paris Désert.
discussion
France 24.
I was thinking of the word disputation, but that's not a word. Somewhere between discuss and dissertation. Oh yeah, disputation. I shouldn't make up words like that. I don't think that's a real word. It might be, but called exculpatory. And it's very rare that I make something and don't publish it. Very, extremely rare. Because I'm super pro publishing and pretty willing to embarrass myself constantly. But I think with the sensitivity of it being a pending matter, with the prosecutorial abuse of power I had already seen, which is always leveraged over your head to keep you silenced in Clatsop County. Oh yeah, Kelly Okada used that term, prosecutorial, maybe misconduct or abuse, something along those lines. So the thing that I was like, oh, so Marissa Snyder's animus against you is not because she really thinks you committed a crime. It's because she's defending her bar because you've already reported her misconduct. And if and when she appeals, the whole issue of tampering with the evidence from a prosecutor, like speeding up the footage.
There was a present clear danger of losing the cultural competitiveness in the land. We also saw a very, very serious threat that we
So
might lose
the other day when I watched Parliament, I went back and watched more yesterday. I watched some of the budget finance, and it was very subtle, very accounting. It was like, where are the 20-something billion dollars here, $20 billion there? It was very like, ooh, elegant and shishi. I really like this beautiful lady with a blue, like that gray blue that is so elegant top. She was just, her gracefulness was really charming. But I was, that was more of, and then I tried to watch, I think, a little bit of a backbenching debate on child safeguarding, which they have actually a lot of content on that. And so after I went to Parliament in 2011 in England, I just had this almost like complete obsession that if I were just like infinitely wealthy, I would snag up a little studio apartment or something right close to UK British Parliament and just go every day. That would be like my dream life, is going to Parliament every day. That would be like the most epic thing ever. And I can't say the same for Congress, no. Not, or even like state ledge. No, I don't feel the same about that. But it is interesting. And then yesterday I was trying to read the House Bill 2005 about the transmissions regarding aid and assist and civil commitment. And it's also that whole like pie in the sky effect of like, even when you put this in law, like we had the AD in law, but do we have the ADA in practice? There is actually an embedded complexity in the House Bill 2005 where it's such that some of it is good and like help Tyler get his charges dismissed, but some of it is potentially dangerous. So I found this memo from Governor Tina Kotek basically alerting the courts to the fact that misdemeanor class A 90-day community restoration timelines could be infinitely extended pending certain requests.
Your daily lives create the news. Your cultures, struggles, and successes are at the heart of our programs.
Well, I felt nice and sore from dancing 2 mornings ago. Yesterday I didn't do as much physical activity because I was in the courtroom and wandered around the homeless camp a little bit. I said the wrong thing to my friend whose mother is very sick. Oh, I love it how there's still nobody here on the street. That's so cool. You know what's going to be gnarly is to see what Miss Snyder asks from the judge, something horrible like a license suspension, and then I noticed the psychological effect is that once there is sort of a democratic process, like the jury decides something, it caused me to second guess my gut feeling, and I really don't like the power of the flock or the crowd controlling my mind. I always try to be independent of groupthink, but the whole power of the groupthink was like, did she really deserve those charges? No, I don't think she did. I mean, I think my guilty knowledge that when I could have bought a car or could have got my mom to give me some money to buy me a car or something. Like, I didn't, because I'm averse to all stress and liability. I don't want to accidentally have a horrible accidentally kill. I don't want to be Craig Hobbs. And in consequence, I have like literally no life, no participation in capitalism, and I have the best of both worlds. I get to exist, but I don't have to be a part of the rat race that includes zipping around in futuristic cars everywhere, promoting to oil wars and environmental atrocities. Other people can do that, and I try not even to get in them. Besides, I have automobile anxiety, as my friend found out when she took me gallivanting to go shopping, and I was just gasping at her very good driving that was too fast. And I don't like being in fast cars, so I think probably a lot of car drivers drive recklessly regularly, and it's very rare that anything like this happens. And I got sideswiped by someone that pushed me into a spin out, so it's causing me to flash back to that. The person just merged into me.
Returning to power, the U.S. president to oversee the signing of an agreement between their neighboring
And this whole notion of a blind spot, you really need eyes in the back of your head. That has to be. That's, I mean, why the newer cars have these computerized eyes on the back of the head effect. But it's like being driving, you actually have to be on mission. And the truck was a giant semi full of fish, so she got hit by the fish truck, and she got prosecuted. But she looked so nice. She was wearing these cute little slingback pumps and a really nice camel jacket. And she's a hairdresser and a mother. She said that a part of why she knows Marissa Snyder sped up the footage to make her look more at blame than the actual truck driver that hit her was as they were spinning, as they were being pushed by the semi that crashed into them and then spinning, she said, her daughter said, "Mommy, I'm scared. Mommy, I'm scared. Mommy, I'm scared." So think of the liability of endangering that child. Why isn't the truck driver being prosecuted for almost killing her child and almost killing her? And he knows that. That's why he was turning scarlet when he realized the whole thing was heavy-handed, let's attack the victim so the perpetrator can walk free. And even maybe he didn't deserve a reckless. I think maybe he needed his CDL evaluated, a crash report. Well, I had a very nice time. I brought David Catrone, which I think the judge was pleased to see that David is doing well, because David has had some issues and moments. David got to see the closing arguments. I got to see both opening and closing and some witnesses, so that kind of worked out great. And it was nicer to run away and go do something fun rather than court can be quite dreary. But I hope Scott is doing well. I hope the other people who know about different misconduct at the DA's office get their bar complaints going. And if they don't, that's their right to just move on with their life and not mire themselves in clots of county misconduct. And pat themselves on the back for all the great work they've done. And where's the county report on the misconduct at the DA's office? We, the public, want it. So, like, somebody needs to put a records request on that, like Katie Frankovitz or Katie's a youngster too. I'm so proud of her for writing the article on it, though.
Which is in separate peace talks with Kinshasa, mediated by Qatar. More importantly, fighting continues in the region. Earlier this week, the Congolese army and M23.
So somebody I know has court today at 2, I think 2:15, 2:30. And I should probably go to it, and I should probably text her family member who may be stressing or may not know. And then gotta go pick up my Food Web box. Food Web gives out 10 free boxes a week. Don't tell anyone. But like, it's some of the most like delicious, organic, local stuff you could ever get. It's like way beyond awesome what they do. And then, oh yeah, my friend has a dress rehearsal of her theater production tonight.
by troops and by dozens of
And then tomorrow, Siobhan Kaplan has a show of Minecraft from 5 to 7.
French flags, and Xi Jinping is Chinese counterpart there,
Ooh,
of course.
okay, that's been going in. Yep, the diclofenac, anti-inflammatory, kind of helped me with my neck pain.
More than an hour. And
Promptly.
just shows you that they had a lot
10
to
minutes.
talk about.
That's good.
Notably, Ukraine.
Okay, I'm gonna go do some stuff. Thanks for doing court
court
yoga review with me. Bye, I gotta go. Thanks for watching.